On arrival to the site, liaise with the farmer as to the exact positioning of the feed stalls and main mixing unit. Ensure the farmer is happy with the location of the feed stalls before any other work is carried out. Remove all content from the hopper. Contents of the install kit include extra peristaltic pump tubes, spare tubes, a water filter housing, Jubilee clips, milk line removal tool and hose tail connectors for the water filter housing. Also included in the kit is spare keys, calibration container, spare lube, spare teats, spare drinking tubes, a detergent drop tube and a string filter. With this you'll have a daily checklist, a user manual and a weighing scales for calibration. In this setup there was no concrete base, so the feed stalls are put into position for the farmer to anchor down at a later time. Inside each feed stall you will see a plastic bag with the consumables needed to carry out the install. You will have 4 bolts for securing the feed stall to the ground. You will have 2 milk line connectors and 2 spring clips. We then prepare our 8 milk line. The milk line goes from the back of the main mixing unit to the base of the feed stall. For the milk line you will need length of 8 mil which is provided, and you will have hose tail connectors. So you can see here we are fitting the hose tail connector to the feed stall end, and this is how we get our length of milk line. So we run the length of milk line from the feed stall back to the main mixing unit and cut to suit. Once you have the length of your milk line, measure your stall cable off of your milk line. We will now remove the mounting bracket to get the measurement of our stall cable. We measure our stall cable against our pre-cut milk line. Our stall cable comes at a set length of 7 meters, so we don't cut or adjust the stall cable. We simply loosen the gland and feed the slack back inside the feed stall. We allow for 6 inches extra to allow for a bit of slack at the back of the main mixing unit. We then insulate our milk lines, ensuring that the whole milk line is covered. Secure the insulation to the 8 mil milk line. We then measure and cut our corrie pipe to suit. The corrie pipe is the protective layer on the outside of the milk line and stall cable. We then secure the corrie pipe into position with the mounting bracket. We then lower the feed stall into position, routing the corrie pipe out to the back of the main mixing unit. When securing a feed stall to the concrete floor, you need to drill 4 8mm holes and use the bolts provided. For the routing of the cory pipe, we use galvanised straps to secure it into position. This is to prevent any trip hazards and tidies around the feeding area. When setting up your water filter, use the hose tails provided. Ensure that they are wrapped with PTFE tape and sealing compound. Please ensure to take note of the flow of the water filter. Also, the red screw needs to be fastened as this is a drain plug. Attach the wall mounting bracket. Insert the string filter provided into the housing. Position the filter in close proximity to the water supply and also leave it in an area that the farmer can clearly see if there is build-up in the filter. Measure and cut your 1/2-inch hose to suit. Connect the water supply using the 1/2-inch hose to the in port on the water filter. Secure into place with the Jubilee clips provided. Connect the 1/2-inch hose to the out port on the water filter and feed this across to the back of the main mixing unit. Remove the side panels of the main mixing unit to allow for observation of the inside of the machine. Remove the caps of the stall cable ports and the milk line connectors using the tool provided. We now connect our 1/2-inch water supply to the back of the machine to the port that's labelled water. This is your water in. We then connect our waste line, which is our water out, our washing. This is pumped to a waste collection point. Secure into place and ensure that the water in line and the waste line are not obstructed. We then finish off our milk lines by adding the hose tail connectors and our spring clip. Ensure that the stalls are plugged into the appropriate ports. So you can see here we're starting with stall 1, power cable, and stall 1 milk line. We then continue the steps for 2, 3 and 4. We then connect our main mixing unit to a 16 amp supply. You can see here we are setting up our detergent line. The detergent line is a large green tube inside the machine which is fed out through the back port. The large green tube is fed out through the back port of the machine labelled alkali. We then attach our lager clean to our detergent drop tube and place it into the drum. This farmer opted for the liquid additive, which you can see here. Similarly, we pass the liquid additive line out through the back port of the machine and connect it to the drop tube, which is then placed in the drum. Ensure that the farmer is aware that the liquid additive and the alkaline drop tubes do not mix. We then check all the lubricant levels in the peristaltic pumps. So you have 2 in the main mixing unit. In an S4 you have 2 peristaltic pumps in the main mixing unit, and you have 1 in each feed stall. Ensure the lubrication levels are topped up where necessary to approximately 30 ml of lubricant per pump. For this step, we are now going to connect the machine to the mains water. Once you have the machine connected to the water, you need to go enter into diagnostic mode and turn on inlet valve for bowl A and B. This will allow the air out of the tank once the mains water supply is turned on. Wait until the 2 inlet valves into the bowl start to pass water through them. This means that the tank is now full and you are now ready to initialize the machine. We do this by hitting stop on the home screen and pressing run. This will drain out the system and begin to heat up. Before we initialize the machine, we enter diagnostics and prime both our cleaning fluid pumps and our liquid additive pumps with water, just to ensure they are working correctly. Remove the back panel of the feeder to access the main PCB. You can see here the port in which the additive loom has to be added in on the main PCB. Fish the loom through the grommet and plug into the necessary port. Attach the powder additive hopper to the side of the machine in the holes allocated. Looms are pre-labelled for easy installation. The looms are labelled according to each side of the machine. Ensure that mineral hopper A is plugged into mineral A loom. Likewise for mineral hopper B.